Guys, I want to go ahead and call this meeting order. First thing I want to say is that, so there won't be any, I'm encouraging anybody that wants to wear these masks, please put them on. I'm encouraging that for the meetings and when you go to school, and also encourage you to get the vaccine. It's okay, so I just want to get that out there, because I want you all to think, just because some of us not wear it, you can't wear it. If you want to wear it, please wear it. Okay. Let's call this meeting to order, the Greene County School System. Everybody will stand. Michelle, if you'll lead us in Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, you do the invocation.
That's my job. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. God our Father, we come to you today asking your blessing on this place and the business that is at hand. We confess to you, we wish we were coming to you in easy times, but we're not. We ask for your wisdom and your discernment, your courage and your strength, your blessing on each person gathered here today. We all want what's best for these kids. Help us to know it and to do it, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. We've already got one change. First bullet, Mr. Hayden Sampson wasn't able to be with us, so I'll ask our secretary to move that to September's meeting, if you don't mind. And up next is, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Daniel Lewis. He's come to speak to us about the masking and current COVID crisis. Dr. Lewis, if you'll just come to the podium. It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to let you know that you have 5 minutes. Yeah.
Take this off while I speak.
Yes, sir, if you want to.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Dr. Daniel Lewis. I'm a local physician in this town. I speak as an individual unless I mention my employer or some others. Despite the fact that my wife and I homeschool, I'm deeply invested in the Greene County school system. I provided sidelight coverage for sports for over 10 years in this district. I've organized countywide physicals with 100% of the monies being donated to the schools for the last 6 years. I also work to get athletic trainers in our high schools, all of whom work under my authority and my license. But above all else, like you all, I am dedicated to the care of my community and want to protect all during this surge, particularly children unable to be vaccinated. We currently stand in a surge quickly to surpass last winter's numbers. Our numbers are approximately 2 times the numbers they were when actions were taken previously to make intercession for schools. We have 289 hospitalized across our hospital system. 27 of those are in Greene County. We had 14 on Sunday. We doubled in less than a week. We're doing 2,000 tests a day with 15% average positivity rate, adding 200 to 300 tests a day. 43% of those are 5 to 18 years old at the present time. There are 9 patients hospitalized in Niswonger Children's Hospital with COVID. I gave you all some data previously. I'm sorry the numbers didn't draft through. On July 9th, there were approximately 80 to 100 cases per day in Tennessee in pediatrics. We now stand on August 23rd at 1,800 cases per day. Virginia and Tennessee, across this country, across the state, we're having 6,000 cases daily. Virginia has 2,600 cases daily, a 9% positivity rate versus our 15% positivity rate. They had a mask mandate passed in schools on August 12th. They also have a 56% vaccination rate. Mask work. You have a PubMed data analysis pulling 172 studies that show 2 things. Social distancing of more than 3 meters is beneficial. That's very hard to do in a classroom, I understand. Also, mask work. The data even shows this in non-healthcare settings with a 30 to 56% risk reduction for COVID infection. The CDC follows this and recommends universal masking for all students in schools 2 years and over and all staff regardless of vaccination status. This is also the stance supported by Ballot Health. They recommend social distancing. Again, difficult to do in a classroom and I'm sure very hard to achieve. They recommend contact tracing and quarantine of all positive close contacts more than 14 days. Again, I'm sure with resources stretched, it's difficult to do. You can opt out if you've been 7 days after if you have a positive or a negative test screen, and I know that some are pursuing that based on the pediatricians in our community. However, please realize we probably will soon run out of tests. Your absence rate in some schools are averaging 25% today. We're seeing a dwindling supply of tests, so that option to do that will run out shortly, and all quarantines will be 10 days, exacerbating the issues relative to absenteeism. The entire issue regarding masking has become political. That's important to me. Children should not be used as pawns by anyone, and I'm not saying you are, but it's being used in some areas across the state. A political tete-a-tete is brewing in this state, with mandates being threatened with legislative threats for options for redistricting and moving. We have the governor issuing an executive order saying everyone can opt out of mask mandates. We then have federal threats from the civil rights ops or from the education department saying they'll take back grant money that may be granted to areas by the federal government. I believe it's public record Greene County has a $15 million grant potentially that could be affected. Simon Sinek said, "There are leaders and there are those who lead." I fully acknowledge the difficult position you were in with the threats being granted against you. The inability to pursue virtual options is taken away by the governor of this state. No relief from the accountabilities that you and your teachers are held to. Kids missing schools and absenteeism will certainly not help those numbers. I see today in our request, I see you have potentially 3 options before you. Number 1, you could pass the universal mask mandate. There are school districts across the state that have done that and have said that Governor Lee has exceeded his authority granted him by constitutional law to do so. I suspect these cases will end up in the courtroom. I don't know how they'll come out. I do not expect you all to take that step and expose yourself to that risk. I do ask that you pass a universal mask mandate with an opt-out option, as allowed to by Governor Lee, and as passed by other school systems in this area. Parents can opt out. Washington County is averaging approximately 25% opt-out right now. That's 75% of kids that are still protected and protecting those other 25%. It also grants you some relief of liability and guilt if there are unfortunate circumstances that occur in our schools. The absolute least that can be done is to promote mask use with staff and students, and I appreciate Rick doing so today potentially, and the other ways that can be done. I would ask you to do that. Your website says strong leaders set the tone, and you provide a safe place for your students. You are elected leaders, so I'll leave you to say, will you lead? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
Yep.
And just a
Yes,
second.
sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Hey, Dr. Lewis,
Yes, sir.
I was watching the news last night. I have a hard time with COVID. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I'm 75 years old, and I was, I came up through the whole thing, German measles,
Yes, sir.
polio, TB, smallpox, and they just come in and give us our shots.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed yesterday in the Johnson City Medical Center, there were 71 people in the intensive care unit.
Mm-hmm. One's been vaccinated.
One was vaccinated.
There's 41 on ventilators, and it's that same one that's been vaccinated.
I mean, I'm not the conscience of everybody. I don't know. But I mean, I've been there, and been through all these vaccines. I like this earth, and I don't like to gamble on my life. And I just hope that everybody will think about it. It's not me to tell you to get a vaccine. I'm not going to tell you to get a vaccine. But I'll tell you what, I sure love this old earth. And
We're
I love
averaging-
the kids in our school district, and I'm gonna.
90 to 93% of all patients in the hospital at any one point are unvaccinated,
I know, it's.
and 95% in the ICU at least every day.
I went down to health department to try to get my, and it was,
Get
I'm
your
too
booster.
early and I don't have anything wrong, so they wouldn't give it to me, and.
Next
but,
month, they're probably gonna recommend everybody can get it. I'll meet you in the front of the line. How's that?
Okay, you come and grab me, I'll go, I'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah, I'm certainly able, I'm mind to answer questions, but I certainly want to be mindful of your all's time too. I didn't know if that was allowed.
No, it was fine,
Okay.
and you can, and I do appreciate you, Danny, mentioned the part how the school boards are in a bad position
I understand that.
with the government, federal government and state government, and
You're in
We
the
just
middle.
We can't get anybody really to give us a.
Sometimes you can't win.
Yeah.
Leaders sometimes can't.
No,
Sometimes you have
that's
to make
true.
the right decision no matter what.
That's right, and I
We've
think,
got to work together
You're right.
through this.
thank you again for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mark, I believe you had something.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I do have just a few remarks. I'll say my piece and then I'll hush. But I'd like to start by thanking you for this opportunity. Thanks to Dr. Lewis for advising us on these matters, and the expertise, the effort that you and your team have shown over the last 18 months is commendable. In trying to save lives, and we thank all our medical professionals for their much needed work. Rick, you said it, it's kind of a no-win situation right now, and likely, let's just get right to it, likely we will not leave this room tonight with a universal mask mandate for students indoors in our schools. I understand that. That doesn't seem to be the will of this county, certainly not of our governor. So I want to speak tonight directly to everyone in our county. As a school board member, as a husband of a teacher in this system, and as a father of a student in this system. I don't like masks either, or shots. Don't know anybody who does. However, as Danny shared so eloquently, the threat of COVID-19 has never been more present in our schools than it is today. Our students, our teachers, everyone who works to make our school system function are in for rough waters ahead. So tonight I'm asking everyone in the county to jump in this boat and help row. If you're 12 years or over, please talk to your doctor and get your vaccine. If you're 11 years old and younger, I'm sorry we don't have a shot for you yet, and I pray every day that day comes swiftly. If you're 11 years old and younger, please wear your mask while indoors and on the bus. We all want our schools to stay open 5 days a week and have as many of our students there as possible. And these two things will help us reach that common goal. And we know that masks are not 100% effective in defeating COVID, but we also know it's measurable and it is repeatable that droplets from our mouths and our noses can spread this virus. And so masks do help, as Danny presented evidence showing. They do help in preventing the spread. And we know this vaccine is not 100% effective in defeating COVID, but we also know it's measurable and it is repeatable that those who are vaccinated, Tommy, you said it, they have a much lower risk of getting in the hospital, and when they do, they have a much lower need of the ICUs and the ventilators than those who are unvaccinated. Danny, you mentioned almost 300 people in our hospitals right now. Yes, 22 odd people were vaccinated and have contracted the virus. We would expect that with so many people getting this virus, but that's less than 1 in 10 that even make it to the hospital. And then only 1 on a vent, only 1 in ICU that were vaccinated. That's less than 1%. Folks, I ask you, if 99 out of 100 loaves of bread in this county had a $100 bill in them, we'd be lined up to buy bread more than when it snows. Why wouldn't we apply that same chance with a shot that helps protect those we love? Which of us would not want to protect our homes from an intruder? And we know that there's not a single method to protect our home that's 100%, but we all prepare as we see fit to do so. Not because the government made us, or out of a sense of guilt, but because it's the right thing to do. That's what these vaccines do to our bodies. They train our bodies to protect against an intruder. Beyond that, the more students that are masked and vaccinated, the less close contacts we have to send home through quarantine. If our students and our parents would choose this action, we'd have less kids sent home and more opportunities for learning in the classroom, where learning has its best chance. Outside our schools, the more the rest of us are masked and vaccinated, the less this disease affects students. That's just the way it is. These teachers and these students, they need our help, and we can help. So that's what I'm asking all of you to do tonight. Get your shots, and if you can't, please mask up. Not because your government made you or not out of guilt, but out of a sense of community. In our darkest times, Mr. Chairman, we come together with a sense of civic pride, loving our neighbor and regarding other people as more important than ourselves. Each of us sacrificing a little so that the greater good in our community can be achieved. It's what makes Greene County great. It's what makes this country great. Let's all try and do the right thing here. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the floor.
Okay, any more comments? All right, hearing none then, I will go on to the next person to appear before the board is Haley Ricker. She's a student at Chuckey Doak High School. Ms. Ricker, you have 5 minutes.
Good evening. I'd like to say thank you to the board for this opportunity to represent. Yes, sir?
I hate to ask you this, and take this off for 5 minutes. Can you take your mask off? If you don't mind,
I
to talk.
apologize.
I can't hear, I'm old, I got battle wounds, been kicked in the head.
Thank you, Haley. Go ahead, bud.
Before I begin, I'd like to say thank you to the board for this opportunity to represent mine and fellow students' concerns about the current dress code in our school system. First, I'd like to provide some background information for those who may not be aware. The Greene County school system did not have a unified dress code for all schools until the fall of 2001, 20 years ago this fall. The same year, the Cincinnati riots, 9/11, and subsequently the beginning of the War on Terror. While many of you may remember these events and define them as world-changing, even this year's senior class of 2022 were 3 years too young to live through them. Learning this really puts into perspective just how dated this policy is. The dress code has not been amended further than a few changes here and there in this time period, while fashion trends and what is considered socially acceptable have endured a full 180, 360, what have you. To quote Dr. Joe Parkins, who proposed the dress code, each student is expected to keep his or her clothing clean and neat. It is expected that each student, while exercising the right to dress and groom himself or herself in an individual way, will also show, through his or her appearance, a high degree of respect for the standards of decency, cleanliness, and style acceptable to the school. This quote brings up my first issue with the dress code. Dr. Parkins makes it clear that he still encourages students' individuality and freedom of expression. However, unconventional ways of expression like non-natural hair dye, facial piercings, tattoos, and the like are all considered inappropriate for the learning environment. Second, the rules that are most emphasized by school administrators are almost exclusively affect female students. Just yesterday, my own administration made an announcement that anyone seen wearing shirts that were cropped, showed the stomach, and pants that had the high knee or above would be punished. Please excuse my nonchalance, but when was the last time people walked into a store and saw crop tops and the like marketed towards young boys? Because I've never seen anything like that. All I see when buying clothes, in-store, online, or in any other way, is shirts and pants that the policy in question deems inappropriate, because that's what sells. It has become increasingly difficult in the last few years for girls to find jeans that cover the correct amount of skin. It has become increasingly difficult to find shirts that don't show my shoulders or my midriff or more than a credit card lengths below my collarbone. Many of the rules in the current dress code, even if they are written with ambiguous, gender-neutral language, are only enforced when girls break them. Lastly, as many of you know, Governor Bill Lee recently passed Order 82, implying it is, I can't think of the word, but wrong, for a school district to require their students to wear masks in the middle of a pandemic. However, we're not allowed to show our shoulders in a school building. Where is the opt-out option for the dress code? How is being asked to wear a mask to protect the well-being of other students too far, but instilling a victim-blaming mentality in young, impressionable girls is not? I'm not asking for radical change or abolition of the dress code by any means. All I ask is that it be reviewed with a more open mind to the world we live in now, rather than 120 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haley, and I will let anybody have a question or a comment?
No, but I'll tell you, I liked her report very good, and that was a very good report. I mean, And, I see where you're coming from, kid. I see where you're coming from. Seems like it's a little one-way, don't it? The rules apply to girls and not to boys.
It's the way it's felt since I was a kid.
I will let everybody know that I've asked Ms. Haley to email me a proposal on the dress code, and she's gonna do that for me, so I can take it to the policy committee, and the policy committee will look at it, and we'll come up with a policy, and I totally agree with her that there's some things on there that needs to be changed. And I thanked her for coming and speaking to us and filling out the application to speak, just like you should, and she's done everything she needs to do. And I asked her just one more thing, if she could help us with a proposal, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, unfortunately, the board has something that we have to go in closed session, so I'll I guess, in recess until we can come back. Shouldn't take very long, if you all will just be back as soon as we can. Guys, we need to go in closed session, it's in the middle.
Hey, Doc.
All right.
Doc.
Tommy, I need you, buddy.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, working your butt off.
Absolutely,
Hey.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I'm crap.
Always. Yes. Yes, this has to be done before business starts, so once business starts, you guys are first. Yeah, you're always on there, and if you don't show up, then we put no report from GCA. Yes, you're good. You're welcome.
See.
Now we good? Somebody not hearing me? I'm pretty loud, but I've got louder. They good? I don't think we ever turned them on. I think that's what he's telling us. Were they?
They were on earlier.
Okay. Oh, you did? Oh. Okay. I'll try to keep my mouth down a little bit.
Okay,
ahead.
all right, wonderful. All right, so you can hear me just fine, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a problem projecting, as you well know.
Yeah.
All right, so,
We got
okay.
the same problem.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, no, we're great. So I have, I think, 5 different issues that I wanted to address today that had come across my desk as of this week as a result of a president's call that I had with TEA and their attorneys. So the first issue is one that I believe Dr. Lewis touched on, and I just want to echo that this is the language coming out of the state as well, that Lee's executive order was actually issued under the umbrella of health emergency guidelines, and his order actually stands in opposition to those health emergency guidelines. And therefore, there is some legal opposition, as I understand, at the state level, and that particular executive order might not stand. Also, it was stated that there was no basis for the order's implementation because of what it implies, and that denying masks may deny equal access to education, which puts it in direct violation with federal law and puts federal funding in jeopardy. And that federal funding in question is the, of course, ESSER funding that has yet to be distributed to the particular individual school systems, but could be disrupted at the state level. The other issue, I guess, in relation to that is that, you know, and I may be going out on a limb here in stating this, I don't know if Lee would be in, you know, against not receiving such federal funding, considering his positions regarding public education versus privatization and school vouchers. Okay, and I don't think anybody would disagree with me if they know his policies where that's concerned, you know.
I think we can agree on that.
Yes, okay, yes, like he is anti-public education, so I don't think it would hurt his feelings if funding to public schools were cut, you know. Secondly, according to you know, the state and also according to local teachers, contact tracing was mentioned, and we do know that contact tracing has just now started in a modified format compared to how it was done last year. There's no contact tracing that has been ordered on buses, in lunchrooms, sporting events, et cetera. It's only being done for those directly in front of or to the sides of students. And what's going on is seating charts, of course, are given to the health department, and families are supposed to be contacted within 48 hours. We know that right now, the results that are being published on Greene County's website really are intended to be cumulative, and there are about 300 students, if not more, that are currently out right now. I know that teachers in my building and teachers across the county are reporting multiple students, between 10 to 12, sometimes up to 15 students out in one particular classroom. And I know that multiple teachers also are reporting clusters inside their classroom. And our members would wish and would like to have more authority given to nurses in order to up the ability to contact trace and quarantine. Issue number 3 is COVID leave. And I think this has probably been one of the top issues that I've heard about from our teachers and also at the state level. There is no real policy in writing right now regarding COVID leave. And I know that you all have been in talks about the ESSER funding. It should be included. GCEA's position is it should be included above and beyond traditional sick leave because A, it encourages teachers to come in sick for fear of exhausting sick leave. I've had new teachers and teachers who have been in the system for 1 to 2 years that are concerned that if they are asked to quarantine or they are asked to leave, that they would exhaust their sick leave through no fault of their own, especially in the absence of a mask mandate. They don't feel like it's fair.
So this is an issue. I just want to remind the board, since there are several members of the PECA team here in attendance, this is an issue that is conferenceable. And since the ESSER 3.0 app is due to the state tomorrow, it is something that if it has not been added to the list of funding items, it could be added. And if that app has already been turned into the state, it is allowable to amend it, as well as allowable under the guidelines of the federal funding itself. The COVID Lead Bank is allowable for compensation, so I wanted to put that out to the board too. Fourth issue, this has to do with COVID cleaning. Bottom line is COVID cleaning is not happening. For example, I wanted to quote some information that I have here. It says, there has not been a one day since the first day of school that we have not had positive students and students in quarantine. We have had to up our cleaning throughout the day. I now spend several extra unpaid hours a week making sure everything is posted to Google Classroom or Canvas for my students who are absent, and answering student questions about assignments and the content they are missing. I'm basically teaching another class after school, trying to make sure my absent students don't fall too far behind my in-person students. Another anonymous time is, another anonymous response here is that the deep cleaning in question that has been promoted is, of course, not going on, that teachers are expected to fill in for positions that are not currently staffed. We have several custodial positions in our schools that are not currently staffed. So saying that we're going to use ESSER 3.0 funds to hire more cleaning staff is great. However, we don't even have the regularly funded positions staffed at present, right? So of course, right now, in order for that deep cleaning to occur, teachers are having to take it upon themselves to work either in between classes, and as you know, we are not given the 10 minutes between classes, we are given the 5 minutes between classes to try to rush through, hurriedly clean, usher in a new group of students, and then at the end of the day, try to clean. So according to this survey that I sent out, 85.4% of teachers that responded are engaged in extra duties as a result of COVID-19 right now. 80% say that they are involved in classroom cleaning, and 80% are involved in extra lesson prep for online learning. Some say that they're covering bus duties due to no sub coverage, as well as covering sick teachers and other extraneous duties that they have been absent for. So if COVID leave is allowable for compensation, then extra duties should fall under that particular category. I know I've spoken with certain members of the team that are coming up with the plan for the use of those funds, but I would continue to urge the board and those responsible for making those decisions to understand that in order for this school year to function and to function smoothly, it does require us teachers right now to take it upon ourselves to do exactly what Mr. Ross said and think about others and do even those things that we have not been asked to do expressly, okay? Lastly, I wanted to echo what Haley said about the about the dress code. I know that Minnie and I spoke and we talked about potentially adding masks into the dress code. So I would say if that is an option and you are going to go to the table to amend the dress code, then we might as well lump both of those issues together. I know that Greenville City Schools has advertised on their Facebook page that they're allowing for more personal expressions inside the school. I know as a high school teacher that my students are begging for more personal expressions, and they are also begging for the sexist policies that are implicit in the current dress code to be, I guess, somewhat changed, for lack of a better term, because they are sexist. I know that females are shamed for the length of their shorts, whereas many males at this point are not. And that is a current trend. They're called dad shorts. Boys wear them, and they are not being hounded for dress code like women are. This is actually also potentially conferenceable with PECA because we are also being asked to police these violations, which disrupts our teaching even further than the COVID cleaning and the other accommodations that we're being asked to perform and other duties we're asked to perform right now. So that was a lot, I know, but that was what I have to share. So I can answer questions if you have
Buckner, I
questions.
have a question. Is there anything good we're doing?
There's a lot good that we're doing, okay? All right, there's an absolute ton that we're doing that's wonderful. I mean, the quality of the teaching that we're providing right now is absolutely exceptional. Like, I don't think any teacher would disagree with that. I know that Dr. Ripley and I have had a conversation, and I know that teachers are willing to take up whatever burden that they've been asked to bear right now to make sure that students have as much normalcy and normality returned to their lives as possible. Like, they are very happy to be in school. They are thrilled to be able to, convene with one another, and it is definitely helping their learning. But I will say, over the past couple of weeks, we've started seeing our numbers and attendance dwindle. Like, that is a fact that we can't necessarily ignore. And if we and other teachers are completely concerned with covering, the purported learning loss, then we cannot do that if we're not thinking about what we need to do to keep our students in the classroom. Like, they are completely thrilled to be back. But yes, there is beautiful teaching going on right now, and a lot of good. I have beautiful positive moments today. For example, I have a brain break that I plug into every single class, and my students were so into the discussion we were having that they asked me to please not have a brain break. They wanted to continue class. So yes, we have beautiful positive moments, but yeah.
Good deal. Any questions? I do. One thing you did make, Dave, we need to make sure that the principals understand that the gentleman can't be wearing short shorts either.
Yeah.
We'll
I
talk
think-
about that in the policy committee.
Yeah.
I do think you've raised a relevant point, that is that there shouldn't be a difference, there shouldn't be anything gender-related, any kind of discrimination that we'll see here.
I find it, of course, I'm not saying that it's not happening, but I find it shocking that any guy would work around in short shorts, but anyway.
Well-
All that aside, we need to make sure it's fair.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we do.
And I think that's one of the major
So-
issues. It's probably what's bringing it to light even more
Yeah,
now.
absolutely, because
yeah.
we need to make sure that the policy is,
It's equitable. It's-
but you and I both can admit, though, that when the policy was put in, it was to make sure, it is leaning towards the female, it is.
And
But
dad
still,
shorts were not a thing.
Now,
back then.
still, we just need to make sure the guys aren't walking around in short shorts.
Yeah.
Shame on them.
They
But
rolled the
anyway.
bands up. Okay, like it's not even.
Thank you.
It's not even kind of short.
Tommy, you would probably wear them, but I asked you not to. I asked you, please don't. Thank you, Ms. Hillary.
All right, thank you very much.
Any board reports? Okay, let's get to the central reports. First up is Ms. Kayla. She's gonna do our financial presentation. Good luck, hello. It's all gonna be good, girl.
Okay,
Bless you. How many board meetings you been to?
okay.
You don't have to be nervous now.
4?
I know, don't be
Not
nervous.
that many?
But
You
you're
step
gonna have
up
to-
there and
You're gonna have
start.
to take, there you go. I can't hardly hear you when you don't have the mask on.
Okay, I actually don't have a lot of finance news this time. We are obviously in our new budget. Everything is good so far with that, okay? In finance, we are still very busy with audit. Still very busy with closing year end. I know it's been a few months since I've seen everybody. So I was gonna tell you a little bit about what happened over the summer. Payroll completed 13 payrolls in June and July. We did just recently complete a literacy stipend for our teachers that did a Read 360 training. 343 POs were completed over the summer, and 906 checks were wrote.
We still have money.
We still got money.
Okay. That's good. Any questions for Kayla before she has a nervous breakdown?
I'm okay. I'm okay. But no, everything's going good. And I say this every time. There's a lot of information I give you all every month. Sometimes it can be confusing. If anyone ever wants to make an appointment, talk about any specific thing, my door is open, call, email, any of that, okay?
Thank you for all that information. You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you can. You go sit down. You're welcome. You're welcome.
This is cute.
She is, but bless her heart, she is so nervous. I wish Dustin Burnett would do that a little bit, get a little nervous and not talk so much, but he just talks all the time. Okay, next up, Dr. Bill Ripley, he has given us the report, and any.
Yeah, I think I was just gonna say, if you haven't had a chance to look, I think it speaks for itself. I don't know that I've ever seen as many jobs come across our board as we've had this summer. Kind of to her point, we still do have a few of these part-time custodial positions that are up, and for
Yes.
most of those, there's only
Yes.
1 or 2 applicants. And I'll also add this, we won't ever be asking a vaccinated teacher to quarantine, so if they're worried about their sick days, just, they need to remember that. Any questions for me?
What is, yeah, just to say, and I know I was involved with Steve, Mr. Broyles, he's maybe got 2 prospects for custodian. But I know that's another hard position, and I agree that just like bus drivers, right?
Sure.
We're just having a hard time to find.
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident we will. It's just not,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen that fast.
Rick, I think many times, especially in this era now, you hear business and industry speak of trying to find workers.
Oh, yes.
And they can't, everything's backed up due to COVID. But what people forget, Greene County Schools is the #1 employer in Greene County. We talk about educating kids, but the HR part of this piece is tremendous, just trying to hire people. And I think many times, people soon forget that, but I did want to throw that. That's trying to hire people, the process for principals, they work their tail off to try to find those people, and that's not an easy task, especially in this situation we're in now.
And it is.
Yeah, we understand
Yeah.
staffing is a challenge right now for everybody, so.
I think unfortunately it's
Second that.
big factories to my brother's lawnmower and trailer shop. He can't get people, so it's terrible. But thank you, Dr. Ripley. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Ripley? And that question wasn't, Bill, that you weren't trying. I was just seeing. I know it's hard.
Dustin's chomping at the bits.
You know,
You hadn't invited me up yet, I was just
well,
for questions for Dr.
that,
Ripley.
He's a polite man.
well, okay, okay.
Let me just-
We'll leave it at that.
You mean just act nervous and skip to the money? Would that be better for you? Yeah.
I'm not seeing you. Well, there you go.
So, what's been going on? So we're just so pleased to be back again for the 2022 season, 21-22 school year. Look forward to serving the students and staff of Greene County and the district and staff. Jason wants me to guess. Just like it was previously mentioned across the room, we are also actively hiring staff. Same challenges as everybody else. We're fighting those same challenges, but we are actively working on it. Unfortunately, just like everything else, I've got about 6 waiting on a background check to come back, and that's the only thing holding me up, and there's not enough people at the background check office, so it's part of it. There are a lot of new and exciting things coming to Greene County Schools in the very near future. New signage, mood boost, student choice, and Discovery Kitchen. I actually just got the Discovery Kitchen package in, I think Wednesday, or Tuesday, and it's a huge box, and Logan's gonna be up next week, and we're gonna start going through all of that, so. Next slide. What to look forward to, as previously mentioned, I'm working with Logan Lash in our marketing program to introduce new themes, marketing, and signage. We plan to incorporate one of each of the 3 new themes in the elementary, middle, and high school. We spoke about those themes back in the fall, I want to say. It's pop art, marketing, and modern. All new themes. I did a presentation on that. So we're working on that to get that done this school year. One of those themes at one of the 3 schools, elementary, middle, and high. And then we look forward to being able to roll out some of our awesome programs at Greene County Schools now that we are back in full swing. Financial reporting for the year. Roll up for June was 123,287, 128,779. The important part is the total at the bottom is 244,911.94 is what we finished the year with. And then also hot off the presses, we finished July just shy of 2,500 to the good as well, which is kind of unheard of for a summer month to to finish with a surplus. But typically what we'll do is I'll work with Rebecca and we'll put July and August together for the August report. This is such a small month, but July was positive as well. So that's kind of the financial roll up, and I'll just let y'all ask any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dustin?
As long as it's not red, no question.
Yeah, I noticed that bottom one was, not red, so.
Still green or black, whichever one you want. Give it the black.
Anybody? Thank you, Dustin.
Thank you all.
Next up is the director's report.
Good evening. I'd like to start this report by stating that I'm starting my 7th year as director, in which we're starting a new school year. I'll go on record stating that starting last year was hard, but I believe this year is hard or even harder than last year. I know there's a lot of mixed information out there on how to have school year this year, but the setup this year is completely different from last year. At this time, a hybrid model or going 100% virtual is not an option. The state will not allow this. These two plans are only allowed if the governor declares Tennessee as a state of emergency. If that would happen to take place, then we are allowed to divert back to our CLP, or also called our continuous learning plan that we were able to utilize last year. The only flexibility we have is to utilize our stockpile days if we have to back up and punt. We have 12 of those days left, and going over 12 would make us have to make those days up. At the moment, we're having in-person learning and doing the best that we know how to do. I do encourage those individuals 12 years old and older to get the vaccine, as well as wear a mask. By getting the vaccine or by both parties wearing a mask, the close contact and the student testing positive, then the close contact would not have to quarantine based on Tennessee Department of Health guidelines. By students choosing to follow these guidelines set by the state, we can keep students in school and away from being sent home as a classroom contact. I do have some pleasant news to share. As a district, we were once again a level 5 district based on TVOS growth data. I know we've been able to accomplish this goal 5 out of the last 6 years, and the one year we did not was 1920, in which we did not test that year. Last, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Philip Cutshaw. Philip is a math teacher at South Greene High School. It has been announced by the Tennessee Department of Education that Mr. Cutshaw has been named as one of 6 finalists across the state for the prestigious Presidential Awards in Math and Science Teaching, the highest honor for U.S. K-12 science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and/or computer science teachers. Congratulations, Mr. Philip Cutshaw. In reference to our ADMs for this year, or our student enrollment, we ended last year with 5,850 students, and at this moment we have 5,855 students. We're up 5 students over last year. This time, I'd like to turn this over to Ms. Leanne Myers. Ms. Leanne's going to give a report on our summer learning camp. So, Ms. Myers.
We just wanted to share some of the successes from our summer learning program this past summer. We did run from June 1st to July 2nd with our elementary, and June 1st to June the 25th with our middle school. And then high schools ran from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on which high school it was during the month of June. As you can see, we had some great fun at summer learning camp. Students were engaged, and they were all very excited to be back in person for the summer learning. We did have a total of 669 elementary students enrolled for summer camp, 307 middle school students, and a total of 361 high school students who managed to recover 559 credits this summer. Approximately 170 certified employees and 95 classified employees were employed during our summer learning camps. The funding that went with summer learning, we were funded through the state summer learning camp, bridge camp, and stream funds, Save the Children summer school and kinder boost funds, the state transportation grant, federal ESSER funds, and then Greenleaf also made a donation purchase of middle school novels during our summer camps for our students. Finally, we did survey our faculty and staff from summer school, and of those surveyed, 98% indicated that they were willing to work summer camps in the future, which was very exciting for us
because we are already talking about plans for next summer. We got lots of great responses, some that are highlighted here. There are a few I would like to point out. First of all, teachers said they enjoyed getting to know the students that they would have in class the following year. It was a great opportunity for a transition for our 5th grade students to go into the middle schools for the very first time in small groups, and for teachers to get to meet who those students were. Students enjoyed the STREAM activities, which were science, technology, reading, engineering, arts, and math activities that took place during the summer. And my favorite comment, the most successful aspect of summer learning camp was the number of supportive teachers and staff that were committed to these weeks. We could not have done it without the great staff and teachers in Greene County, our bus drivers, our custodians, our nurses. All of these people contributed to the success of the program. Finally, we did participate in some pre and post assessment data. There was limited information we were able to pull for the elementary grades because of the way the state required us to enter information into an app, and there was no way to pull down that final report. However, for our rising 4th through rising 8th grade who took pre and post assessments, we showed as a district gains in 5th and 7th grade in ELA, and across the board as a district average, we saw gains in math. So we're very excited with those results. We want to thank the board and Mr. McLean for all their support with summer learning, and we're looking forward to now getting underway with our after-school tutoring and planning for another great summer next year.
And thank you for all the hard work you guys did on the summer schools. That's a great report. What else, Mr. McLean? You done?
Got me, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, any committee reports? All right, up next is approved policies on second reading. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Tommy?
Second.
Second by Minnie. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next up, we just see, under new business, there's no policies on first reading, no procedures. Up next is approved South Greene High School and First Christian Church lease agreement.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. I'm sorry, Brian. David was talking to me. Yeah. He's trying to get me, I'm already getting messed up anyway. Hear you talking to me. Michelle was second.
I've got a question.
Well, he wants to make a statement, then you can have a question. David wants to make a statement.
Oh, go ahead, David.
He says you can go ahead.
Before you vote on this, the only thing, I talked to Roger today, Tom, you all may have spoken. I think under the conditions we're in, they just wanted to know if there is a start date on this contract. Just curious if you all could give myself and Roger, we'll see the option to negotiate when that start date would be due to the situation that we're in now. So basically, that would be amended among their communication with you guys.
Absolutely. Anyone see any problem with that? I don't see, I can understand. And Tommy and I talked just briefly, and he explained stuff to me.
They're
Okay.
not taking,
Go ahead, Tommy.
they're not taking the FCC out of Chuckey Dope and Senator South Greene.
Oh, yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they should be able to go to South Greene.
Basically, I was told it was because of the board member and the principal. No, Tommy, it's gonna be which is a good thing, they're gonna have another location.
Tommy has enough trouble understanding, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Any other questions?
I can't let Staggs leave.
You can't let what?
He had passed ninth grade yet. We can't let him go till he passes. He hadn't graduated.
He's not graduated yet?
No,
Okay.
he's been there 6 years and he graduated.
Well, now he's going to
But
a
he's
different school,
trying.
maybe he'll graduate. Any other questions? With the caveat that Roger and David will have the authority to work with Tommy and the others with FCC to do a start date.
Roger has looked at this contract.
Yes, and that's what we talked about. I just asked Tommy if he was good with it and before we voted. Any further questions or comments? All right, we're voting on the motion to approve South Greene High School and FCC, that's First Christian Church, lease agreement. I got a motion by Brian and a second by Michelle. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, so we'll leave it to you to sign the agreement. And bye, Chucky Doke. No, approve, I have a motion to approve student participation agreement and release of liability for members of the Chucky Doke High School Fishing Club. That motion?
Motion.
Second.
Tommy and Mark, did you need to finish something on that? You need to
Yeah.
comment? Okay.
Yeah, what this is, I know Chucky Doke has started this fishing club, and it says Chucky Doke, but basically, I want you to know, and I want the minutes to show, Trenda, to give me the power. What this is basically flexibility, that I'm sure there's gonna be some other high schools, maybe middle schools, jump on this. I know South Greene High School is interested. So I know it says Chucky Doke High School, but just the option to amend that to other schools within the district that falls under that, if that happens to take place. Roger's also looked at this, so I just wanted to make that known. I know you're voting, it says Chucky Doke, but basically, let the minutes show you'd also be voting to allow this at countywide, yes.
Okay.
Does this mean we'll have some fish fries?
I
During
think
our
you can talk,
meetings?
Ms. Lloyd's not here tonight, but you can talk to Lori about that, Michelle, if
Fish fries.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Mr. Bros, is there anything you'd like to comment on that?
Who are you pointing at?
We love fish.
We love fish.
Okay, well, we'll put that caveat in there then. Yeah. Any other comments or questions based on for the fishing club?
What kind of fish are they fishing for?
Does anyone have any relevant question to the issue? I want to tell you something, Mr. Cobble. You're going to keep on, and FCC will be leaving Chucky Doke. I mean, just because of you. Anyway, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. You know, and it's the trend here. Have y'all noticed how Dave keeps on asking for leeway here tonight? Leeway. He needs
Yes.
leeway. Leeway.
It's a word for tonight.
Yeah.
Good word.
Approve, it's the word for tonight. Approve use of Camp Creek School by Greene County Youth Football League. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Tommy.
Second.
Second by Miss Minnie. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Approve discipline hearing authority for 2021-2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
That was Brian, second by Mark. Any discussion or comments need to be made about this? We good? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Approve grassroots contract for filming and media services. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
I got Michelle and Minnie.
And I'll third it.
Any comments or questions? We got Dalton's here with us
And this
tonight.
is the same
It's the
ones that
same-
done it last year,
same one.
right?
Same ones that did it.
And I
and
noticed
they-
the only, they're gonna do home and away.
I don't know.
We are. We will do most away games. We're gonna be at Happy Valley tomorrow night. We've gotten clearance from Carter County and them to stream that game as well. So as many home or away games as we can be at, we will be at. We'll also be providing news at all games as well, news coverage, not just live video streams as well. So we're expanding a little bit in that regard.
Well, I think you did a wonderful job last year, and
I
thank
did,
you
too.
again. And you gave a lot of people opportunities that couldn't travel to watch them. So thank you, Doc. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next up is a motion to approve school resource officers contract. Do we have a motion?
I'll make it.
Michelle,
Second.
second by Minnie. Any comments or discussion?
Can we opt out Travis Hoxie? Can we like leave him off there?
No, we have to keep him.
Well, the governor has says that's the only thing we can do, so. with the option of opting out Travis. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign.
Over here being quiet.
Approve policy 4.212 virtual education program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Brian? Second by Mark. Any comments or any discussion on it? What is that?
Bill, go ahead and
Did you
comment.
not read
This,
it?
we got this from TSBA, this is, they passed this rule in Nashville, one thing they have, I guess, wiggle on. We can count students present if they are, quarantined or isolated, if they will continue to participate in homework, classwork.
Okay.
However, teachers can provide that. So,
All right.
teachers have the flexibility to do that however they can, the best way they can. And if the students participate, they won't be counted absent at the conclusion of that. We can count them present, and there's a special code for that. And, you know, that's a good thing for us, and
Yeah.
keep attendance up
Yeah.
for those kids.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments?
I noticed it was not just for those, but also for ABIC classes, or for ones that have, it says, for alternative school, enrolled in alternative school.
Yeah, it says homebound quarantining or alternative school, and yes, we do put those kids, what we call Odyssey Wire down there, Michelle, and that allows us to do that. And also, I know Mr. Shelton's been working with Mr. Garland, if he knows a kid's coming back at the 9 weeks period, sometimes they're doing that now virtually from the school to those kids down there, so that way, that's kind of something new we've been doing, if that's allowed to work out, they've been doing that.
Doing
So-
Canvas, not the Odyssey Ware.
Do
Doing
what?
Canvas.
Yeah, you're doing Canvas with that, but also the other program is Odyssey
Yes.
Ware, which allows us actually to be able to do that as well. Both programs, Canvas or Odyssey Ware.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. And let me go ahead and put on the record, I forgot to do this with all the other stuff going on. Mr. Nathan Brown did call me, and he wasn't able to attend today, so let the record show that we have 6 board members here and not 7. Sorry, Ms. Trend, you probably kicked me to do that, and I didn't understand. Motion to approve out-of-state trip request, do we have a motion?
I'll make it.
Michelle? I need a second.
Second.
Second, Tommy. Any questions or comments?
Can I go to New York again?
Yes,
Won't
sir.
pay for it?
Yes, sir. You can go right ahead. We will not pay for it.
The FFA convention.
Where's what? I'm sorry. No, Tommy was trying to go to New York.
Mark heard New York, he wanted to go too.
Yeah, well. This
Come on, Mark.
board may take up a collection to let you go to New York.
One-way ticket.
Yeah.
One way.
So, any further comments or
Can I make
discussion?
that motion?
Yeah, after this one. We have a motion to approve out-of-state trip request. I've got Michelle as the motion, and then Tommy's the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
I don't feel loved.
You all make it hard on the board chair, I'll let you know that. Approve ESSER 3.0 budget. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Got Mark and Brian, second. Any discussions or comments? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, up next is approve ESSER 3.0 plan. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Minnie,
Second.
second by Brian. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, next up, we gotta correct one little thing on this, and did we pass these out?
I did.
Thank you so much, Trendy. Next up is a motion to approve, how do you pronounce that? EDO? It's what? Ed Leo's credit card proposal by Mr. Tim Shelton. So you're gonna come up here and speak to us about something?
I was smart enough to bring a net.
A Annette, would you mind coming up? Annette, if you'll,
I have 17 questions.
Annette, why don't you just do it yourself, because Tim knows nothing. You could have Turtle. No, wait a minute, Turtle can come up and help you.
He could.
Yeah.
He knows all about it. I've typed up the manual and policy, what would have to take place if this was approved. I just wanted to go on over, we had originally discussed Square, which is an Apple Pay program, but in the time that we discussed that, Paula Bullen emailed me an email from EPS, which is our accounting software that we use with Greene County Schools. And EPS has partnered with EdLeo to do an online school processing. OSP, which stands for the Online School Processing Payment, is specifically designed for schools. It's in over 6,000 schools in the United States, and it's currently being used in Greenville City Schools. It is already integrated with our current EPS software. All they have to do at EPS is turn on a module, and we can use this software. It's web-based, so they wouldn't have to, everything is web-based. I can enter anything I need to via EPS. EdLeo powers our Greene County School webpage. So Greene County Schools is already affiliated with EdLeo. A link will be embedded into each school's webpage if the county approves that this processes can be used by the other schools.
So I was gonna ask you that, so when we vote tonight,
Well,
we can do it for the whole district?
you can.
Not
I
have to
have
come
not,
Preferably so.
preferably so.
Yeah, that's what I prefer, because I don't want to have to come back
Right.
for all the schools to
have-
approve.
I have printed off, they've emailed me contracts, and it's just a proposal with a contract attached that you would have to have, Mr. Woolsey look over, and you all look over also. But if it's approved, it has to be signed by Greene County Schools, not just West Greene. It has to be a school board approval
Right.
before it will be turned on in EPS. And then it can be implemented in any of the other schools.
Okay, that's what I was,
Right,
yeah.
and they will embed a link in our website where a parent or a consumer, somebody who wants to buy something that has West Greene High School on it, where they can click on that website. They can go to the volleyball store, a volleyball parent can go to volleyball store, and they can buy a shirt, they can pay for it online, and they don't have to come into school, they don't have to send money into the school. There is a 4% fee and a 35 cent per transaction fee. And that is made obvious before they check out that this is their fee. But as we were told earlier today, if you want that milkshake at Little Top, you're gonna pay that extra $1 or 50 cents to get your milkshake. And it's a convenience fee. They don't have to use it. They can come in the school. They can send money with their child and pay for this with cash or a check. But this is just a way that they can do this online. Deposits will be made into the school's account. They propose they do it, well, two different ways. They do it on the 16th of the month and on the 1st of the month. Another way they will do it is once a week, and that's what we said we would prefer, is once a week deposits on Tuesdays. These deposits, they go to, when somebody hits with a credit card and they buy something, it immediately goes into the EPS accounting system, into that account. So if somebody buys something from volleyball, it automatically goes into volleyball. The 4% goes, it goes to the credit card company, because that's the credit card companies charges these companies, and the 35-cent fee will go to EdLeo. But every time somebody purchases something, it immediately goes into the activity account, baseball, softball. It immediately goes into their account. Any bookkeeper will not have to make a separate entry to put it in any account, because it's already integrated in with EPS software. There's 50 different reports, detailed accounting reports that can be run. The module for the in-person receipting. So we can have parents come into school and say, I want to pay my child's laptop fee, I want to pay their school fees, I want to pay a stock medicine fee, I would like to pay for their parking pass. All of this can be done right there, right then. They swipe their card, it goes into individual accounts, and there's no money exchanging hand, there's no money, you know, that has to be counted, that's on hand at the school. The contract is with the Greene County Schools, and like I said, I have the packets that I've given to you all, have the PowerPoint presentation from EdLeo that they presented, and Mr. Shelton, myself, Mr. Meadows, and Mr. Short, we all listened to the PowerPoint presentation. It has everything in it that you might need to know, and they're willing to, I can email the lady who did the PowerPoint presentation, and she can present it to anybody, any of the board members, to explain how everything works. To have a module that's in school, where a parent can come in school and not use online, there is a fee of a one-time fee of $396. So, and that would be the school's responsibility to pay if they chose to go this route to accept payments. So that $396 is a one-time fee, and then for a magnetic card reader, they are approximately $20 a piece. So, per se, if we were having a camp during the summer and a coach was accepting payments, I could sign out to them the mag reader. That coach could process their payments, parents could come drop off their kids, swipe their card, and less cash would have to exchange hands. A coach wouldn't have to call me in the next day and say, I've got a deposit in July. And it's just less money that they have to keep up with and then turn into myself or the bookkeepers at their respective schools. So I feel like it's a good, as far as accounting purposes, it's a good way to pay things. It's contactless paying in this contactless society that we live in now. And we all like to think that things are going to change and we'll be able to touch and feel and hug, but right now and for the near future, everything's going with a card. I can't tell you how many parents came during registration and wanted to pay with a card. And we had to say check or cash.
So what did you say the $396 was
The
for?
$396 is for the online teacher receipting system. This says it's an annual license of $396 per school. I apologize. And the hardware for the module, the card readers, the magnetic card readers, they're sold separately. So that is per each school to pay if they want to have where the module where people can pay with credit card in person, where they can come into your school and you can pay in
So
person.
instead of saying go online and buy it,
Yes, you can come
you
in the
can
school.
come into the school?
Yes.
Okay. But if they just done it online, that $396 wouldn't apply. Like if your
Yes.
school said, we're not doing any in person,
Right.
okay.
Mhm.
Make that $400 back pretty quickly, though,
I
right?
think so.
Now,
Yeah.
that $390, that's a one-time fee?
Well,
That's
I
not
thought
an
she had
annual?
told us it was a one-time fee, but after reading what I highlighted here for you guys, it does say that it's, that's just the module for in-person. If we choose to not do the in-person module anymore, we can do it this year and say, you know, the in-person didn't work too well for us, so we're not gonna renew
You're
the
not locked
in-person.
into that.
We just wanna do the online. You can opt out. You don't have to do the in-person one. The in-person one is the $396 one. To do it for them to embed it in our webpage, there is no expense. There's no fee involved in turning this module on in EPS.
But those modules, the card reader.
They are approximately $20.
And that triggers that $396.
Yeah.
I would think you'd want that. I can't imagine a program that wouldn't want card readers. And you'd make
In
that
person.
You'd make that back the first month.
And-
Mr. Ross,
but
the whole
wait.
premise came when our ag department has their plant sale.
Yeah.
You know, you have so many people that come in that wanna pay with a card.
Sure.
Mr. Meadows actually came to us asking us about the square. Originally, that's what the proposal was gonna be until we just received this email from Paula. They're both fairly comparable as
They
far
are,
as
but the only differences between Square and this one is integrated in with EPS.
Sure.
Our
And all we
approved
have-
county
Which
software.
is what you're already using.
Which is what we're
Yes.
using. And if we went with Square, every time a credit card hit, a bookkeeper would have to do an Exhibit A and then enter it into EPS. With this program, it immediately goes into the appropriate account, and you get a report when it hits the bank. You print a report when it hits the bank, and you can reconcile that report and make sure the hits went in the right count, the right accounts, and then the reports are given to the activity, whoever is the sponsor for the activities, ag, FFA, volleyball, baseball, and then they can see who's paid their fees, who's paid for their gear, who's paid for their fruit, who's paid for and with FFA in the greenhouse, they had so many people wanting to purchase items and asking, can I pay with a card? No, you have to pay with cash or check.
It will even keep inventory.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wanna touch on something Mark said. You had said something about making that money back, but we're not getting the fees.
No, we're not getting fees
So
for it.
I don't.
No,
know-
the
No,
$396.
Yeah, so I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
what I mean by that is the opportunity cost. If you spend approximately $400, but you get bringing in thousands of dollars in business, in
If
transactions,
you offer a credit card
you're
option.
making that back in that sense, not us with fees.
Not, yeah, he's just
The
saying that, yeah.
The easiness of using the card would probably be an encouragement for people to go ahead and do it.
And like
You
Mrs.
know,
Net
not
said,
turning away the
that's
other.
not necessarily something you even have to have.
Right.
You know, we could just say, parents go online, you do it yourself, they have to make an account, they put their card number in, and everything's done by the parent. So it just depends on which version you wanna go.
Mr.
It doesn't
Shelton,
have to be tied, some of the systems the credit card payment systems with schools, they have to be tied to a student. These don't have to be tied to a student. This can be a grandparent who wants a West Greene High School football shirt to wear at a game.
It's in Michigan.
You know, so, and as far as shipping something, thank you, Mr. Shelton, that would be another deal.
That was what
But
Tommy
then we'd
just
have to
asked
figure
me.
out how to get it. Yes, sir, Mr. Cobble.
Are they, I mean, if this works and it works like this, I mean, can it eventually go to pay your way into the ball game with
I
it?
think you could do
Yes.
that way.
Even-
by the
There,
back.
there is a ticket management
Even
program
concession
also.
stand,
Yeah.
even the concession stand?
I would think,
Now,
if you had the
you-
card reader with the computer.
Yes,
there,
you could do it with concession stand, but we're proposing right now just baby
Yeah,
steps.
yes, but I mean,
So-
just after we see how it works and if it
Yes,
works.
yes, because we
Really?
have had,
That's-
we have had people ask for if we take credit cards at our concession stands.
That makes
So
it
do you
work.
think this will increase the potential of like the schools having stores and be able to do that?
I would think so.
I think
yes.
so.
I think
Yeah.
it increases
Yeah,
the
I think it's a
potential
good idea.
for grandparents that do not live here in Greene County to purchase things.
Sure.
I think it,
As Tommy's saying, if you come to a ballgame, I never carry cash. If I go to a ballgame and want a drink, I'm gonna have to use a debit card. You know, just, I think the answer is yes, I think it does.
Who's
I would
gonna
like
be
that.
responsible for, you said there's 4 of you,
Mhm.
or watch this or whatever, so propagating it throughout the, school system to all the schools so they understand what's going on and who will own this?
Ed Leo itself will do a PowerPoint presentation to the bookkeeper and anybody in the school who wants, and they have free training. If you're interested in doing it, you have free training.
Okay.
Right, how that works, of course, the schools are audited, by Rutherford Moss, okay? The school system, we are audited by the state, so you kinda have two different entities of the auditing process. So basically, she's been working with Rutherford Moss on the correct way to do this in lots of communication that requires board approval. So, like I said, you know, it's kinda two different entities, and then again, it's one entity, you know, so.
And we have written up in here minimum policy procedures, and of course, may wanna tweak some of those and change, but, on the third page, well, item number 2 says, if it's approved by the Greene County School Board, it has to be submitted to the state. I've highlighted section A, 30 days before it is put in use. So the state doesn't have to approve it, they want to know what you're doing, how you're going to do the accounting procedures, and how you're gonna keep up with how this is running. And then I think it's 12 months and 18 months, they want to know, they want a responsive survey of users from the system. So we could pick some parents out in the community and say, and we could give them a questionnaire to fill out, how did you like using the program where you pay with a credit card, dislikes, likes, is there anything we can do better? And that the
I
state
don't
wants
think
this
that-
also.
I don't think that you'd totally stop, them sending money in no matter what,
Right.
right?
No.
So I think that's a plus. Did they mention any cons to this, any drawbacks or anything that they have
Of
run
course,
into?
they didn't.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, and you can ask Mr. Shelton, I did ask her, what would make me, besides you being integrated into the EPS program, what would make me want to go with EPS? And she had a few valid points, but it's mainly because we are already, integrated in the EPS program, and it's much easier. It is. I mean, I've never used one, so I really can't say if it's gonna be easy to use or not, but with it actually hitting those accounts that the charges are going to, that's less work on my part too. As far as,
Absolutely.
yeah, with having to handle money. And a teacher having to handle money in a classroom and hold money and try to get it to me before the end of the day. If these were being hit online,
Oh, I'm seeing great potential with like book fairs and book orders and stuff like the Scholastic order. I'm seeing huge potential here.
Every fundraiser.
Yes.
in
Yes.
school.
yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kids wouldn't go out with a card reader and go, thank you, sir. It would be done online. They could go online to Mr. Short and say, and pick out the flowers they want. They could have the order ready and it could be in and out the door.
The hardest part of it is that we would actually have to put
The initial setup.
the initial setup, we have to put it in the store.
Sure.
If I'm
Yeah.
selling T-shirts, we have to put West Green T-shirts in the
Right.
store, and then which account those T-shirts go to when they're purchased.
But the site itself is, it looked just like, if you're gonna purchase a shirt, it's just like an Amazon. You click on the little drop down, you want a large, you want it in red,
Yeah.
go to cart.
That's
And
cool.
if I'm in Arizona, I can just
You
go
can.
and order. And
I don't know why you're gonna go to Arizona,
No,
Mark, but
well,
yes.
I didn't like that.
One of our
Well,
kids. Random.
We might wanna
Random.
send Tommy to Arizona.
Word,
Word.
but yeah.
You know,
Give me that credit card.
This question is, I guess, for David. How is this gonna work well with Kayla?
Yeah, I mean, actually, Kayla does.
Kayla and I spoke also about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
She
emailed.
wasn't here to ask, so we're good there.
Yes,
There's
we
been
have-
communication.
Yes,
Cause
we have
this won't
emailed.
change your reports to her.
No.
No, it will not
It's all-
change
make it
anything that I do
easy.
to the auditor.
Right,
What will-
just wanted to make, cause I know she has to,
Right.
you have to work with her when you're
Right, when
reconciling
a
or
deposit hits the bank, I will print out that report, and that will be in place of an Exhibit A. An Exhibit A is where a teacher brings me money, and it has their cash and their check section. This will just be a credit card, and the money will go in my book that I keep all receipting in, and that will be a deposit for that day. And the only thing I won't have to do, for instance, with GoFan, when we used GoFan, I still had to enter what money we made. It went directly in our bank, but it didn't go in EPS. So,
So this will alleviate that extra step.
yes, when we had, and GoFan would deposit every week, but, so I could have 3 ball games. And then I would have to go in and I would have to enter in, the volleyball game brought in this much gate, the basketball, they're not in the same sport, but you know what I'm getting at. The basketball game brought in this much gate, and then baseball brought in this much gate.
Yeah.
And I would have to enter that deposit with the EdLeo online school processing. That eliminates that. It immediately goes into the activity account. And we can set it up to go in a general athletics account
Right.
or just an activity account, a restricted account.
And that'll be school, I mean, that's a school
Yes.
thing.
Yes. And all of these reports go to Rhoda for Moss at the end of the year, and they're audited just like the rest of our books
Yep.
are.
Much easier. for
Good
them
deal.
to
Any more questions or comments?
prevent embezzlement.
No, thank
Yeah, but you keep interrupting. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Wow.
Good job, lady.
You did a good,
That's what I do at school.
best decision he made.
you did a good job, buddy.
You make a good yes person, Tim. Any further question or discussion?
That was interesting. That's. that's
Well,
cool.
I think it will help other schools. I see that Mr. Broyles is here. I got
Did you like that,
Tammy
Mr.
back
Brown?
there. She's here. And so Miss Sweeney's
We
here.
already
and
did up there, hadn't we? We've
I
been
started to
doing
call
it
you
3
Tammy
years.
Tipton.
We've been doing it 3 years, right, Mr. Broyles?
All right, Tommy. Let's see. I didn't even get the motion yet.
You had to catch up, Tim.
I'll move, we do this.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, Mr. Tipton, is probably, I'd say we're making a motion at least to have to where Roger can look at it and make sure everything looked good with him. We know that we're not gonna say, you guys say yes and it's good without Roger looking at it, I guess.
Right.
So we need to amend this then that says, a caveat, Roger,
To at least to go ahead and progress with this and see.
And also, we're voting to allow other schools to do
Yeah.
it too.
You can just, like I said, that can just be for Greene County.
Yeah.
But now schools don't have to do it if they don't want to.
Exactly.
okay, approve it. Eddie, say it again.
It's called Eddie for you.
Edleo. Credit card proposal with a caveat with approval from our county attorney, Roger Woolsey.
That's our chairman. God.
You did very good.
So does everybody know what we're voting on? This is for all Greene County.
I
We
do
good?
have one question, sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
So they pitched this as a free solution, and it is if it's online, but I wonder if they wouldn't, that $396 be topped, maybe a negotiate or something.
Possibly, I don't know. I mean, we
Depends
didn't
on how
go
much you
into
spend.
that much of detail.
I just hate for them to say, hey, this is, because it's even highlighted here, this is a free solution for you guys, but oh, by the way, if you want this, then you gotta pay more.
It'd probably be how much the schools spend, if they spend a lot, I mean, if they use it a lot and they're seeing the money flow through, and then you come up and say, yeah, you know, I don't want that, they'll say, well, we'll let the
Now, remember
$396
that
go.
$396 was obsolete?
Yeah.
Right.
That was just something that you're using to
Yeah,
where
but
they walk in the door.
I see that being used like at the ball games and stuff anyway, so I wouldn't think that you wouldn't want that, but.
Right. No, I agree. We would
Save them
want
money
it.
and save them time.
And it may be negotiable. I don't
I
really
hope
know.
so. Never know.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. So you're good, you know, to get with Roger Woolsey and go from there. All right, next up, motion to approve non-faculty coaches. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Tommy,
Second.
second by Brian. Any discussion or comments? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign.
I should, they all have been screened through the, you know,
Yes, sir.
criminal,
Yeah,
but
Where did he,
Here's a question for Daniel, and I don't know
Where
where he
did-
went, so,
they do have a,
yeah, well, his stuff's all still over here, so he may have stepped out there. I would go as far as to say yes, if he
Okay.
submitted those, I'm sure. There's-
you-
there he is. Now you can ask him the question.
Daniel, these are coaches that, volunteer coaches and things, non-faculty coaches, have they been approved, a criminal background check done on them?
To my knowledge, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Before we can even submit them to him, they have to pass those classes online.
At National
Get
Federation High School
background
Sports.
checked, and then we send him the email saying, we'd like to have them coach.
Oh, okay.
Any further discussion or comments? Questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign.
He's good.
Approved claim number GN 105-00010. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Minnie, and who is, and Mark? Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Couple announcements. The fall district meeting is September the 27th, 2021. This is now virtual. It's not in person. September 27th.
27th?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's all right.
I'm
It's
on my-
virtual now instead of in person.
I did see that, yes.
I ain't going.
Okay, the TSBA annual convention is November the 18th through the 21st, and it's still in Nashville. Nothing's changed there. Our next regular meeting will be on September the 23rd at 5:30 here at the central office. Any further comments or questions? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to say thank you for all the visitors that come and all the concerned people, because we have had meetings and nobody here practically. So, thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all.
Y'all can see how sharp we are.
No, you figured out from there, baby.
Except for
Meeting
this
is
part of the
adjourned.
room.
Thank y'all.
We're such a sharp individuals
Thank you
up
so
here.
much.
Do they really?
Yeah, Tommy, you wanna go ahead?
Shoot, man,